Welcome back to the Kudlow Report. I'm Larry Kudlow. President Obama strikes again with his new anti-Republican "we can't wait" strategy. For the fifth time in a week, he sidesteps Congress in order to push his own agenda through. This time it's on an order on how the FDA addresses prescription shortages. CNBC's Eamon Javers has the full story. Good evening, Eamon.
Good evening, Larry. Well, even the president got a little bit confused today in the Oval Office signing ceremony today. He mistakenly said that he was signing a bill and then corrected himself, noting that he was signing an executive order on limiting drug shortages here in the United States of America. And as you know, Larry, this follows on a tactic that the White House has been employing for about a week now, and they say they're going to continue with through the rest of the year, going around Congress, using the power of the executive branch to sign executive orders rather than bills passed by Congress in order to get their political point. Take a look at what they've been doing just over the past week. On Monday last week, the president signed an executive order on mortgage refinancing designed to help underwater borrowers. On Tuesday, an executive order on student loans helping to reduce payments for students. On Friday, he instructed federal agencies to speed up research, and he also created something called Business USA, a website aimed at small businesses. And of course, today's announcement was aimed at reducing a shortage of life-saving drugs, the White House said. Now, Larry, we should point out that the White House likes this tactic. They think it's reminiscent of the Clinton 1996 re-election strategy, and they say they're going to have a new initiative every week between now and the end of the year. Back to you.
All right, many thanks to Eamon Javers. So, President relying on executive orders rather than risking his proposals being voted down in Congress. Seems like he's trying to mimic Harry Truman's campaign against the do-nothing Congress. You remember. I say, by the way, I'm sorry, President Obama, you're no Harry Truman. But let's see what our panel thinks. Joining me now here in studio, New York Republican Congresswoman Nan Hayworth, and we're joined on the phone by Congressman Marcy Kaptor, Democrat from Ohio. Nan Hayworth, just begin with you. Is Barack Obama Harry Truman? Are you the do-nothing Congress? That seems to be his political strategy.
Well, I will say we have a do-nothing Senate. We have a House that has been hopping with bills all year long. Why doesn't President Obama do the really productive thing for our economy and press the Senate to pass at least 15 bills that are now being held hostage by Harry Reid that would create jobs, that would free up our energy sector, that would lift regulations and get our economy growing?
You know, Marcy Kaptor, I want to get your take on the Harry Truman strategy, but some of these executive orders, student loans, for example, underwater mortgage refis, there's big money here. There's billions and billions and billions of dollars. Are you offended? Shouldn't this be under House oversight?
Well, you know, Larry, in an ideal world, the president and Speaker Boehner would sit down with Majority Leader, hammer out a deal on job creation, deficit reduction, and a deal on home foreclosures. You know, stop the stalling that's going on. But sadly, Congress is really in a hyper-politicized environment and in a climate where the Tea Party Republicans believe that compromise is a dirty word, and that polarization is killing the Congress, and it's killing our country. And like you and Nan, I'd like to see comedy prevail and a Congress that does its job rather than delegating responsibilities to super committees. The American people know that. They want action, and we need action. And if the president has to take action himself rather than wait on Speaker Boehner, I say more power to him. Our people out here in the Midwest need jobs, and they can't wait.
Nan Hayworth, let me just ask you. Look, there is big money involved. You ought to have some oversight, particularly on these financial bills, the refinancings of the home mortgages and the student loans. But let me go to the bigger picture. Is President Obama's strategy working? He's lumped in the Republican Congress, even though it's a Democratic Senate. Is this strategy going to work as a growth strategy and as a presidential campaign strategy?
Larry, it can't possibly work for the American people. It can't possibly work for our economy. To take a purely political stand, which is unfortunately what President Obama is doing, will only damage us. It will hamper the growth.
But as we can't wait a slogan that's going to work. I don't mean to interrupt, but it's the politics here that really interest me.
Well, the American people can't wait. I agree with the president. We can't wait. We can't wait for the Senate to pass at least 15 bills that it's currently holding in limbo.
Ms. Kaptor, let me ask you, wouldn't it be better for the country and the high unemployment rate and the stagnant economy that President Obama devote his time, energy, resources, and statements to making a deal like a pro-growth tax reform as well as entitlement reduction so we don't lose our AAA or now our AA plus rating? Wouldn't it be better if he worked with Congress instead of attacking it?
Well, you know, I think he tried that in the deficit reduction and the job creation effort, and look where that got us. And for me, and I've been in the Congress a while, Nan is very new, it used to be our committees functioned. It used to be that we didn't wait for the president to go behind closed doors with the speaker inside the White House and with no public record, no witnesses, make some of these decisions. We've reached an impasse. And I've really never seen anything like it.
But, Ms. Kaptor, aren't Democrats partially to blame? After all, the Senate is under Democratic control. They never seem to pass a budget. They certainly don't vote on tax reform. And even Max Baucus, the Democratic chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, has been blasted by his own party for favoring some Medicare, Medicaid entitlement reductions and reform. I mean, shouldn't Democrats take the blame, too? Is the president forgetting about that?
The way that I look at it, sir, is that in the Senate they can't seem to do anything without 60 votes. If they needed 51, I think we would have passed all those bills that Nan is talking about, or at least a majority of them. But the Republican Party, by threatening filibuster and what they call cloture over in the Senate, really holds the power to stop, not to do anything, but to stop. And so Harry Reid just can't get the votes.
I've got to give Nan the last word. On that point, it's a Democratic Senate. Are you going to get blasted and whipped next November because of the president's strategy? Is he succeeding? What's your outlook?
I don't think our economy is going to improve, Larry, until we get definitive movement, and we can do that together with the president if he moves on what the Congress has already given him, on what the House has given him.
This is just small potatoes.
This is small stuff, and it's divisive, and it's not necessary. We have 15 bills waiting in the Senate. He should press the Senate to act, and he can do it.
All right, very good. House members Marcy Kaptor and Nan Hayworth, thank you very much. Coming up on Kudlow, all eyes on the